Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show because I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so we can take all that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I proudly fly that American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. Tracy St. Clair over on YouTube, good morning. Micah Campo, good morning on YouTube. Corey Buchan, also over on YouTube. Happy Hump Day. Flo, good morning and happy Wednesday. And Sunny Sharma, good Hump Day morning. Orange Shirt Gang, both of them are over on LinkedIn. Thank you guys for tuning in. Carla Isted, good morning to you. Bill McIntyre, happy Hump Day. He's over on YouTube. Cole Mikulik, Big Dog, what's going on, brother? Speaking of big dogs, I got my man here who's also the strongest man in freight, a.k.a. Robert Bain, coming back on. You're on mute, my man. Just a heads up.
Because I'm respecting as you flow out here, man. You're dropping bars, you're dropping knowledge on people. I want to respect the man who runs the show. So
look at that transition right there, bro. Look at that. I love it. Good to see you, dude.
It's like I talk for a living. Dude, it is so good to be seen and to see you, you handsome bastard.
See, this is why I like having Robert on most of the time. He's like my biggest, he just knows how to talk to me. That's all.
I know how to say the right things.
Yeah, you do. So, bro, what's going on, man, out in your world? What's new? You put a post out there recently. What's up on the job front here?
So many things going on. First things first, as many people saw, I was announced as one of the speakers at the Broker Carrier Summit. They did a great job of putting a phenomenal picture of me in my Freight Coach hoodie. So I had to bust it out today.
Yes, you did.
Rocking the Freight Coach hoodie. It's a little tighter even now than it was in the picture. Oh, yes.
That's right. Oh, he froze up because he's in Chicago, and you guys are all under absolute ridiculous weather out there right now. So he'll be coming back on here soon. But that's a good actual photo still of Robert right there doing what he does best. And one of these seconds he'll jump back on, I'm sure. But yeah, you guys, we're here to obviously we're here to talk about he just said he just lost power. We're here to talk about kind of like bridging those carrier relations out there as well. And we are, at that moment in the industry. And, again, you guys, I'm out here moving freight actively every single day. And, I saw it this week, right? Like in obviously the weather had a big play into affecting capacity, affecting rates. It's going to affect everything here for probably this week, and until the things kind of get back to normal out there in the market. And it's one of those, because again, like when I was creating content, and I'm just going to free flow here until Robert is able to jump back on. But on Wednesdays, I was used to do little videos on weathering the storm, and it's ironic because there was a massive storm that ripped through the country, and there's a lot of people that are being affected by it still to this day, right? Like we're moving freight. There's delays out there due to weather and everything, and you need to just keep all parties updated on this. And again, you guys, we failed on a load this week. We failed on a load this week due to weather. I'm not going to be the type of person who's only going to talk about the wins and everything else in the industry. And Robert is back, but back to what I was saying here, you guys, about weathering the storm. This week, like I was saying, like we failed on a load this week due to the weather. All right. It is what it is. I cannot control the weather. I cannot control that my driver got delayed on his shipment coming in to where he was supposed to pick up mine. But what I can control is my communication in those moments and letting my customer know what was going on in a timely manner. And that's all you really need to focus on, you guys, because no matter what you see all over social media and all of that stuff, nobody is that perfect. People are going to make mistakes and things are going to happen, and you have to control your communication in those moments. And it's as simple as that, right? So I'm never going to be up here sitting here and talking about how I'm only talking about the wins and everything else, because the reality is, you guys, there's a lot of stuff that's outside of your control inside of transportation, and you have to do your best to keep everybody informed. Because as one of my really good friends who was on my podcast a while ago, he is a shipper. He said it like this: you can have a bad week of service. You can even have a bad month of service, but you can never have a bad day of communication. So keep that in mind as all of this weather is going on out there and all of these things are going on out there. And then most importantly, no truckload is worth a human life. Okay. At all. Keep that in mind as this stuff's going. And it looks like Robert is officially back in live again. What's up, buddy?
Fingers crossed, man. I don't know what has happened. Like, we had a flicker and the Wi-Fi went out, and so I don't know, but you know, it's cold here in Chicago. So
yeah, I was going to say it's like -80 in Chicago right now. So that probably has everything. I saw on a good note, in regards to the push for electrification of all of our trucks, that there's a bunch of Teslas that got stranded because the charging stations don't work in Chicago. Is that accurate? Or
that is what I'm told. I've not gone out and exploring because, you know, like we said, it's freaking cold. But yeah, that is what I'm told, is a bunch of Teslas just kind of lying around, and the lithium is not doing its best charge right now. I'm not a battery expert, but a good buddy of mine works for a battery company, and he's like, some of these will come back to life. There's some that are just paperweights now.
yeah, and that's interesting, right? Because, you know, again, like as I was talking about the other day on this, you guys, like, what do we do in the event of a freak snowstorm where there's no power and it gets really cold and everything else? And this is a prime example. And again, to clarify, I'm not anti-innovation. I'm anti being told I can only do one thing by our governing body. But dude, so back to what we were talking about. So
Yes.
Broker Carrier Summit, you wearing a fly freight coach sweatshirt in that photo, looking absolutely yoked. I might throw that out there because you can bench and squat a literal house.
Yes.
You must have been doing push-ups before that photo. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, got a little pump, you know, for walk the dog. So that quick.
So Broker Carrier Summit, this is coming up. Our mutual friend Dan Lindsay kind of got this, you know, and then with you got this up and running and kind of started, you know, you guys were in Tampa a couple of times, and now it's going to be up in Kansas City here in April, right?
Correct. So Broker Carrier Summit, and you know, shameless plug for that. This all came from a night me and Dan were just out. We're at TIA in 2022, I believe it was, and just talking about what's good, what's bad, what does the industry need. And Dan had this vision, and to be fair, I kept feeding him whiskey to keep the vision going, and to see how deep he would go, and it was awesome. You know, it was a rough morning the next day, but it was the seed that then turned into last April. We were in Indianapolis, and we had, you know, 70 some people come in. I mean, the summit opened with a driver, small carrier. You know, his wife does the books. It's him and two other guys driving truck, and he opened the summit with, "My name is such and such, and I hate brokers."
Love it.
And I'm like, this is exactly why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And fast forward to last October, huge growth. You know, we had sponsorships. Really, I don't want to say we threw it together, but really that's what we did for April. It's like, just, we'll see what happens. You know, we're pushing out call lists. I mean, we had one lady that showed up. She's from South Carolina. She's like, I just got this email and said I thought this would be a good thing to come to. And she got a load, drove her truck up, and came to the summit. And so in Tampa, it was incredible. We had not a single shipper was there. You had a lot of tech providers that were there to understand and where their place is. But you had this incredible network of almost 300 carriers and brokers attending, all now suddenly talking face to face. And the amount of times I heard, I've never met a truck driver, or I've never met somebody who runs a small carrier or a small fleet, or I've never met a freight broker before. So he's actually slung freight.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden you're humanizing this, you know, commoditized part of our industry. And so it was dope that, you know, you see these conversations, and from that you saw dedicated business exchange hands. You saw people's bottom lines improve. You saw better partnerships and better communication. You saw people get new jobs. I mean, it was awesome. And so this April in Kansas City, we're going to do it even bigger. You know, our goal is The goal is 500 attendees. I have put it out there that if we get 750 attendees, I will shave the beard on stage.
What?
Yes.
Holy dude, that's like wow. Okay.
So
Okay.
Again, it's important because again, these are conversations. We saw an instance of it yesterday on LinkedIn where the conversation being had shouldn't be adversarial and we want different things. No, we all want the same thing. Brokers want freight to move. Carriers want freight in the back of their trucks. We're on the same side. Why are we working against each other? And that is what this whole thing is designed to do.
So why is it so important right now? Because this is, and I've been in this industry my entire life. My family's been in this industry for 100 years, essentially at this point. And I've heard this a lot over my career, right? I've heard that, there's no relationships that are out there. And why now? Like what's going to be different, right? Because like, and again, like I'm always on board for this stuff, right? I want to be abundantly clear, but I also need to switch the perspective here a little bit because a lot of my friends that are drivers out there heavily feel underrepresented no matter what, right? They feel like literally everything is stacked against them.
Correct.
In this market. Nobody gives a fuck about an American truck driver is a quote from my father who drove for 40 years. And why now? What are we going to do about this sentiment to change this?
Yep. So
the Bain clan,
everybody's back there. They're all heading out. So the reason it's different and the reason why it's important now is one, look at where the market is. If you sit here and tell me that this is not a down market, you're dumb.
Yeah.
But it's not a market that's unsurvivable.
Yep.
What is going to help people survive in this market is not going to be desperation. It's not going to be screwing people over. It's not going to be not paying your bills. It's going to be finding the right partners that you're going to move the freight that does pay your bills. You're going to service the clients that will create the long-lasting partnerships. Because right now, here's what we're this weird complex of many, many things. You have an age and a generation of supply chain leadership that is aging out. And now what's coming in is people our age that are in that, mid 30s to mid 40s that they've grown up with technology. They've grown up with a much more collaborative type of lifestyle. And so that is what they want to see in business. And to your point, does anybody care about the American truck driver? Until we start talking about it, no, they won't.
Yeah.
Why should they? Because all we talk about right now is how trucks are in the way and we don't like it and it's frustrating. And then what do drivers talk about? How people are taking money from them and people are trying to screw them. And there's no benefits for truck drivers, whether it's on their paycheck or just when they're out on the road. How hard is it to try and find truck parking? How expensive is it to replace tires? How expensive is fuel? So you have to start looking at this from a viewpoint of these are things that support our entire, not only society, but our economy. And depending on what day you catch me, do we live in a society or do we live in an economy? Realistically, we live in the latter. And so when you look at the cogs in the wheel, no pun intended, these are some of the most important folks in it, and yet they don't talk to each other. Yeah. And that is we have to break down those barriers. And what this will start to do is also weed out the shit bags that are out there.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. There are a ton of bad actors on both the carrier side and the broker side. And we have to do our best to make their life more difficult. Listen, bad guys will always do bad things, period.
Correct.
But if you make it harder, they'll go do bad things elsewhere.
I just think it makes it more recognizable when you have conversations like this, right? And again, the hardest thing is going to be for people to admit that you are contributing to this, right? And here's another thing too. At the end of the day, going to social media to air your grievances on stuff or talk shit and everything else, like it could be fun in the moment, but what is it actually solving? What is it actually doing to improve your business? And I think that at the end of the day, there are a couple of key players that are out here in the industry who are really trying to bridge that gap on a broker side and a carrier side to bring more understanding of the fact that not everybody out there is a piece of shit. for starters, in that
Correct.
there are people out there who are very invested in keeping people profitable, but there's also, this is kind of a new era in transportation in the way of like the information that we can bring out there. The fact that, because again, like, dude, I just interviewed my man Honest the other day for my podcast. He doubled his fleet in 2023, right? Damn near doubled his fleet size. And, contrary to every other headline that you saw out there, that shouldn't have happened, right?
Right.
So there are people out there that are successful, that are making things happen. And the point of why I'm saying this is we got to bring them all in the same room to talk best practices, because I truly think that fraud, in my opinion, fraud, double brokering, at the end of the day, you guys, criminals don't care about the laws and the rules and the regulations. That's why they're criminals. So they're going to do that shit no matter what.
Yep.
But if we collectively as an industry make it so blatantly obvious, stop stroking your beard in front of me. That's not good. But if we make it so blatantly obvious on where these tactics are, it makes it recognizable, because the biggest victim of all of this double brokering and fraud is the truck driver who does not get paid for that work. That is not being talked about at scale, outside of a few key players. And I'm not going to toot my own horn, but that I'm one of them who brings that up fairly consistently.
Yep.
And from my perspective, this is what we need to do, right? Because when's the last time that an owner-op fell victim to a double brokering scheme and knew what steps to follow to get that money, right? To find out in those, and that's,
well, if you came to the Broker Carrier Summit in Indianapolis, you got those steps.
No, but that's the thing though, man, is it's like, that's why this is necessary, because, and I think, like, at the end of the day, most truck drivers are some of the most salt of the earth, hardest working individuals out there. They're not looking for a parade. They're not looking for a celebration. They're just looking for a fair shot to make it in a heavily competitive world to provide for their family, as are most people in this industry. But at the end of the day, that doesn't get the clicks. That doesn't get the attention, is a group collectively of, hey, let's get together and let's try and help each other perform. And that's why I love the Broker Carrier Summit. That's why I'm here to, for you guys to use my platform at any way to drive awareness to this event, because this is what needs to happen, because there are so many individuals that are out there that, because there's no playbook to entrepreneurship. All right. I want to be like, I'm bootstrapping everything, you guys. Like, at the end of the day, if I don't hunt, I don't eat. And I'm figuring all of this out as I go. Why not collectively put best practices out there so people can follow it and keep their family fed? Because what most people don't see, and this is what I think about, because I was that kid who had a father that was an owner operator. What you guys don't see is how simple is it to put some of this information out there so that kid, that family, gets a birthday party or a Christmas presents and stuff like that. That's what a lot of you guys, because there's no humanization to where things are anymore, because it's so easy just to post some shit talking online, and there's no repercussions for most people's actions anymore. And very few people take it upon themselves to be like, you know what? Collectively, let's put some stuff out here to help individuals. Because again, I'm still waiting for that freight broker, and I've said it numerous times, and I'll say it again, to present me with that business plan on how you make money without trucks. All right. Still waiting for it to happen. Haven't had any takers. Nobody, ironically, has came up and said I haven't. Weird. But this is where we are, though, right? But you got to start. You got to start having those tough conversations, because at the end of the day, brokers, a lot of you are your own worst fucking enemies. I'll say it. None of you guys have any of the balls to say it. I will say it. You guys are your own worst fucking enemies out there. Sorry, I know you want to.
No, that's spot on, man. That's, when everyone thinks it's us against the world. Now, is there merit to that? Sure. Like, you have to have some of that gumption. You have to have, like, hey, I'm going to do my own thing. But you have to understand, with this industry, especially once you get past 3-4 years in it, this is the tiniest big industry out there.
Yeah.
And so, but there are, to your point, there's not a blueprint or playbook, but success does leave clues. And you can look at what is the ultimate goal of your business. This is honestly like, you asked what's new. And so again, shameless plug, I recently joined an organization called GLCS, and their whole focus, has been primarily around technology and the asset side of life and how that technology makes you better, more compliant, more profitable. And they've done a lot of stuff with the non-asset side as well. And, what's important if you're looking as a broker or as a carrier, how does anything you invest in make you better? Think about it again. Let's look at this group that is aging out of the leadership spectrum and they're going to retirement, and our generation that's coming up. We have watched our families, our peers, our parents get left behind because they did not evolve and adapt. The industry will continue to evolve and adapt. We see it right now. We joked about the EVs, but listen, driverless vehicles on some level are coming. I don't believe it's going to be at the scale people think it is. Sorry, I hate to break it to you, because we just live in too much of a legislative country, and when it rolls over and kills a family of 4, it's going to be a problem.
Like I said before, and I'll say it again, I will never advocate for the removal of the American truck driver.
No,
just throwing that out there. So
no, absolutely not. But do I want to make them more profitable and leverage that skill set? Yeah, because you know what? I think it'd be great to have a professional driver in the lead of a convoy moving 4 to 5 vehicles, because they have that skill set, and many of them do already, especially our veterans that are coming home. And so you can leverage technology to say now, hey, we're not going to pay you $1,500 for this load. We're going to pay you $7,500 or $1,250 because you're moving 6 truckloads worth of stuff at one time.
Yeah.
And so again, and that's one of the things I was excited about with Jordan GLCS is getting into a lot more of that heavier tech side, so that we can have these conversations about collaboration. Because ultimately, collaboration, what's it going to be? It's going to be connectivity to the right partners.
Yeah. And
that connectivity is not just us talking about it and setting up a game plan. It's going to be, big thumbs
How
up.
did you get that? That was sick.
I have an enormous hand.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's like the update for StreamYard. Trey was telling me about this as well. That like if you get the updates, like if you do like certain things like this, like it does like different graphics. I don't know. Coleman Ruffin knows a lot better than I do.
Do I use the?
I don't know what to do with my hands right now.
I don't know what to do with my hands either.
So like again, back to all this, the Broker Carriers Summit, GLCS, a lot of new stuff going on. Most importantly, is I'm going to be a granddad in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you are.
Yep.
That is going to be sick.
Very, very excited for that. And, it certainly was a surprise. That was not on the bingo card, becoming a granddad at 41, but
that wasn't the 2024 bingo card.
No, that was, well, technically, yes, it was on the 2024 one because we knew last year. But as far as
those things don't just pop it up like, a few months in advance or not.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, like I said, I've done this a few times, but no, it's a ton of change. It's awesome. But it's got me excited to be back, around the industry again, because I'll be honest, the last year has been tough. I haven't been excited about the industry.
No, I gotcha. So what could a driver expect from coming to this, right? Because I think that's always going to be the big thing. Like, what can I get out of this? Because at the end of the day, they're the ones who, are shutting their business down for a few days to come out there and see. So what could a driver expect but from attending?
Sure. So what you can expect some great speakers. You can expect some good networking. You can expect, some good memories, some fun times. One thing I want to be very clear on, if you are coming, whether you are a driver or whether you are a broker or technology provider, whoever, you have to come with a very open mind. If you come in saying like, hey, screw all brokers, I hate these guys, or drivers are worthless, or they're dumb, or like, if you come in with that mindset and you're not willing to open that up, you're going to have a bad time.
You're going to have a bad time. Sorry. South Park.
Really appreciate that. But it's important to come with that open mind and to understand, like, there are multiple points of view. Like, are drivers getting screwed from a financial perspective? Absolutely they are. 100% they are. There are brokers that don't take care of them. There are shippers that don't take care of them. Mm-hmm. Are brokers struggling to survive and are sometimes just trying to buy market share with the cheapest rates they can right now because, again, they just want to keep revenue flowing so they can keep their revolving credit? Yes. And then are they passing the savings on to you, the driver? Yeah, they are. They're trying to. Go in with the open mind of you're going to meet people that are going to positively impact your business. Yeah. Every person watching this right now, every one of you had at least one person that gave you the shot. They gave you that opportunity. They gave you whether it was a line of business, whether it was getting you in behind the wheel of a truck, whether it was just, hey, here's your chance, go and grow something we've built. whatever it is. Go in understanding that those people are going to be there. And it could be you meet another driver and go, look, we've got a shared vision. We could create something cool. And there could be the next mega carrier that comes out of this.
Yeah.
Because two individuals decided, yep, we're going to do the damn thing.
I agree, man. I was going to say, I think it'd be cool to like even break down like a P&L, right? Like if you've never seen a P&L before,
Yeah.
you know, which again, most I'm sure, but like at the end of the day, like breaking that down, finding that cost, right? Like putting together a maintenance fund, putting together all of that stuff to properly structure your business, right?
Yeah.
And that's an angle that I'm going to be taking here with my podcast here over the next couple of weeks is I'm going to be interviewing some people about talking about structuring your business properly, getting out there and protecting, you know, from attacks.
Understand cash flow statements and
correct.
Because ultimately, like, I don't care what size your business is. I've talked about this on multiple different podcasts. There are 3 things your business has to have to survive. You do these things right, and you're going to be in a very good position to win. You got to have extreme ownership. You own every piece of the business.
Mm-hmm.
To your point earlier, you can have a bad week, a bad month. You can have a bad year of service. But if you have a bad day of communication, you're done. Mm-hmm. Own every piece of what happens in your business. And that goes for your employees too. If you want to be a good employee, you own every piece of your role. And if you want to understand what I mean by that, read the book Extreme Ownership. It helps.
Jocko Willink, great read.
Incredible read. Yep. Customer experience. Ultimately, what you did doesn't matter. It's how the customer perceives what you did. That comes from communication. That comes from execution. If you have great customer experience, and I hate using them as an example, but people always relate to it. Amazon does have good customer experience. They do. You order something, you know where it is from the jump. You can connect with them, at least on the app. You get refunds quickly. You have a ton of opportunities to return stuff. Is it completely optimal? And do people have some anomalies? Yeah, they do. But listen, you don't become the biggest corporation in the world or one of them without an incredible customer experience. And they have one.
Yep.
Case in point, read the Amazon way. They go very, very deep into that.
Yeah.
And then free cash flow. And for truck drivers, this probably is the most important piece, is free cash flow. Understanding what cash flow actually means. That is, when all your bills are paid, how much money is in the bank? How much is coming in? When's it coming in? When does money have to go out? What is that cycle like? That is why truckers use factoring companies. That is why they utilize these different tools. And there's merit to these tools. I'm not knocking these things.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, they've not been taught how to read a P&L, how to understand cash flow, how to develop cash flow statements, and how to get into cash flow positive so that you can go to the pump, slide the card. All you need to do is get that receipt so you can have it for your taxes that year. You're not worried about that.
Yeah. I think understanding, truly understanding how your money operates is really crucial, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, if you're going in and say you're grossing $10,000 a month in revenue, you don't have $10,000 a month to spend and factoring all of that out. And then what does your taxes look like after you minus expenses? What do your write-offs look like and stuff like that? And that's why I always have, like, the smartest thing any business owner can do, a small business owner, is hire a CPA instantly, a CPA and a bookkeeper. And that's, I mean, because like at the end, like I have a CPA and a bookkeeper, and it probably, it's going to cost me more than that. Now it's like $5,000 a year for a CPA and a bookkeeper to manage everything. And
it easily saves you 10 times that.
Oh, way much, right? Because like, here's another thing too. Like, are you properly depreciating your assets for your operation, right? Is your truck and trailer maintenance, is all of that depreciating and in the right way? And is that structured out? And are you being told, like, hey, if you go and buy a new vehicle or a new truck or whatever that looks like, this is the savings that you can get from a depreciating perspective? And then your house that you have an office at, are you doing that Like, there's a lot of stuff that's out there.
As you start to grow, you look at different CapEx spends and how that's going to impact your overall quarterly statements, and then ultimately what your tax was going to look like. All these different things that, to your point, a CPA, they understand this because the tax code is not designed for the individual. It's designed for the business owner.
Yeah. Micah wants to know what percentage of last year's attendees were drivers and carriers.
Great question, Micah. I want to say it was an almost even split of 45% drivers and 45% brokers and 10% technology and vendor providers.
I took a little bit to add that up to make sure you used
Yeah.
100% there. I was like, wait, I could carry
So yeah,
this.
it was about 45, 45, and then 10 were because you had some of our awesome sponsors like Green Screens,
Green screens.
Freightways was there. Who else was there? There's Zell offshoring. Awesome, but they're based in Tampa, so they're awesome partners of ours. So we had a lot of great sponsors that were there, and they were there very collaboratively versus selling, because what they were there for was like, hey, we support this movement. And I mean, ultimately, green screens isn't going to be something for like an owner operator, but they wanted input from them so they could understand how do we adjust, these pricing algorithms that we build with our clients so that this can actually be profitable for a driver.
Yeah.
How can we start saying, okay, hey, it's not just what someone decides to pay. Like, no, this is what the market actually dictates we should be paying.
Yeah.
And getting that feedback from drivers, not just from brokers or other intermediaries.
I love it. Well, dude, we're at our 30-minute mark, and
We are.
I like to keep it that way because all my audience has jobs, and that's what we like to do is get back to contributing to this industry. But how does anybody find out more about the summit?
Yep.
You, your beard, what? Yeah, you name it.
So, okay, I'll try to rip through this quick. So, Broker Carrier Summit, you can find them on Instagram or on LinkedIn. So, just Broker Carrier Summit. You can reach out to Dan Lindsay, and Dan is more than happy to talk to anybody about it. I think he's still got some early bird pricing, some discount codes as well for it. If you're looking for me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Robert Bain, Strongest Man in Logistics. You can find me on X now, the Strongest Man in Logistics, at Bain316. You can find me on Instagram, also at Bain316. If you want the beard to look pretty like this, go to Wicked Wolf Beard Company and use hashtag Wolfpack or discount code Wolfpack. You get 10% off. Help support the gym, help support a veteran-owned business. So you too can look as pretty as I do.
I love it. I love it. Scott Watanabe. Sorry, brother. I've been seeing your stuff out there. Good to see you tuning in. But that's going to be it for today, you guys. As always, if you guys get value in what you hear, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network. This is how we help more people at the end of the day, you guys, is because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.